343 square feet of storage space that would belong to the next level apartment. Now the apartments, this next level, we go in by means of the doorway and some steps that are inside because we need to go up almost one full floor. You go to a living room and then a full bathroom there. We have a dining room, and then we're proposing also 3 bedrooms, another bathroom, and a kitchen area. Dimensions are 19 by 62 feet, which is more than 1,200 square feet each floor. And this is in compliance with the minimum requirements. It's above the minimum requirements for a 3-bedroom unit. And then the upper floor is almost identical to the one below it, except for the location of the bathroom, because we have some space because of the staircase. We're done with the staircases at this point. We have a bathroom, living room, dining room, 3 bedrooms, bathroom, and a kitchen. And then on the side elevations and the rear elevation, we're proposing stucco on the first floor, and then vinyl siding on the second and third floors. We have a rear door access so that they can service the backyard from the storage room on the first level apartment.
Okay, Mr. Amatar, Mr. Deutsch noted that the laundry room located within the first floor storage helps to ensure that there's no illegal units. And I would agree, and I think you would agree, that there's no problem with a deed restriction limiting the building to 2 families. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and I'll confirm that with the applicant as well. Mr. Deutsch also notes in his report that because of the length of the site, we have very substantial open space provided on the new dwelling unit, right?
Yes, we are in compliance with the open space requirements, 600 feet, 600 square feet.
Which I think is a very important asset for the new 2-family to have.
Yes.
And we would be seeking a variance for the tandem parking.
There's a variance requested for the front yard parking.
I'm sorry,
space.
front yard, excuse me, yeah.
Yeah, I can show it here. This last parking space is in the front yard, required 20 feet setback, so we are providing a car parking there, and that's where we're requesting the variance.
And the way your site plan is designed, you're satisfied that the functionality of the parking design will work for the owner occupants?
Yes, I believe they are relatives that are going to be living there from,
right.
This has been a long time, but they would be coordinating between themselves how to do the parking layout and all these things, yes.
Okay, all right. Again, in your estimation, then the other bulk variances that are sought for either lot, do you see any of them creating any sort of negative impact on any surrounding property owners, or how would you compare it to neighboring properties?
This would be very typical of the property there within the block and within the neighborhood. There's a lot of 25 by 100 lots. This one is a little bit deeper, so I think it would be better. Also, the proposed dwelling is set back, so we would have some open space in the front. So I don't think it would have a negative impact on the neighborhood.
And the proposed new dwelling 2-family comes well within the building height and number of storage requirements, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And also lot coverage, so most of the important, what I would characterize as the more significant bulk variances, we have no problems with on the new construction, is that right?
Yes, we are requesting some bulk variances, but most of it is in compliance.
Right, and even on the existing house with the, which is to remain on one of the parcels, we're in compliance in many respects, but lot coverage is only slightly over, about 6% over, is that fair to say?
46%, yes, required 40 and we're requesting 46%.
Right, do you see any of the other setback variances impacting any other neighbor in any negative way?
No, this is not, like I said, this is not atypical those developments.
Anything else you wish to add at this time?
Not unless, any members of the board have any questions.
Of course. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Mariconda, who else are you calling?
I'm just calling one of the applicants, Madam Chair. Miyad Babul.
Okay, please call him next, and then I'm gonna open it up to the public.
Sure. Mr. Miyad Babul?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I do. I'm not sure if the board,
I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Should I stop sharing the screen or?
Well, for now, yeah, so we can see him, because he's going to have to,
sworn.
say his name. Okay, there, I can see him now, Okay.
You can see him, but I can't see him.
Yes, I see him, he's at the top, next to me, if you can see me. He's got his hand up.
Yeah, you can see him.
Okay, please raise your right hand. You swear or affirm testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Please state your full name for the record.
My full name is Nihal Chaudhary. And I'm the son of Nazmul Babu.
I apologize, Miyad. I indicated your last name was Babul, but you are one of the family members, right, that owns this property. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm his son.
Right.
Mr. Mariconda, do you want to ask him questions?
Yeah, we're ready to proceed. I'm sorry, you were sworn already? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Miyad, I apologize for the misnomer on your name. Anyway,
Sorry.
you are a family member, and as such, you're fully familiar with with this particular site where your family resides. Is that correct?
Correct.
And you've heard all the testimony of Nasser on your behalf, Mr. Amaktar?
Yes.
And as such, are you in a full agreement with his testimony?
Yes.
Okay. I also indicated that, and Mr. Amaktar also indicated that your family's expectations is that if the board were to approve a new two-family house there, that it's expected that most likely that relatives will occupy that house. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And the design as presented this evening is in accordance with your family's wishes. Is that right?
Yes.
That's all I have, Madam Chair.
You're muted, Madam Chair. You're muted.
Sorry. At this time, I'm going to open it up to the public for any questions that they may have of the architect or the owner. Okay, please call in at 973-321-1579. The meeting ID is 711-680-001. It's for questions only of either one of those two individuals. Okay, I'll allow 2 minutes for call-ins, 3 minutes for your questions. Thank you.
We have no callers at this time, Commissioners and Chairwoman Northrop. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so at this time, I'll open it up to our commissioners. Commissioners, do you have any questions? Commissioners? Okay. No commissioners. Okay, I don't hear any commissioners, so Mr. Mariconda?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I'll sum up the.
I'm sorry, stop, one moment, I hear somebody. Is that Commissioner Ceballos?
Yes.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, at number 18, we're saying that make sure that if the commissioner decide to do this, it should be only for a two-family. My question to the architect is, on the ground floor plan, the back door is a need to have that as per code, or that the door can be eliminated?
It's not code, but I think they needed it to do some, backyard, put some shoveling, equipment, things like that, so that they can have easy access to it.
Excellent, good, thank you. And also, in your presentation, are we doing the multiple, we're doing the subdivision and the new proposal too, or how you? Okay.
Yes,
Hey,
yes,
we're asking for both approvals, yes.
yes,
Okay, all right, I want to make sure that that's understood, so.
okay.
And then we'll-
Sorry for the loud noise. Sorry for the loud noise, but I live on Route 20, okay, and they're doing wheelies down Route 20, so I apologize, okay? Okay, Mr. Cevallos, do you have anything else?
No, thank you for the answers, thank you, Manager.
I
Okay,
have a question, Alderman Brooks.
yes, Commissioner Brooks, go ahead.
I have a question for our attorney. Do they have to, does a condition be put in the motion regarding the 2-unit to be put into the deed? Because I know it's mentioned that they would agree to it, but does that have to be a condition?
Yes, it's a very, very good question, Commissioner. This is what my suggestion is. Normally, when we have these types of restrictions and we don't have a subdivision.
I can hardly hear you.
Yeah, you know what, Al, I can't hardly hear you either.
How about now? Can you hear me now? That any better?
Better, yeah.
Okay.
Better.
Normally, when we have these applications and there's no subdivision approval, we would include that type of a restriction in the approval for the site plan and bulk variances. But given that we have a subdivision application today, my suggestion is that if the board were so inclined to approve the subdivision, that deed restriction would be included in that resolution so that it would be very, very clear that it would run with the land, and that even if they were to knock down these buildings in the future,
Right,
they would still have to construct only a two-family.
right,
The way
right.
I had it written, and I don't want to jump the gun, Madam Chair, but if there's going to be a motion to approve, then the language in the resolution would include a deed restriction in perpetuity that any building constructed on any of the newly subdivided lots will be limited to two-family residential homes. So that's what I would include in the resolution. You don't have to recite that word for word, whoever's going to make the motion, but you can just cite in there that there would be a deed restriction to two-family homes on the newly subdivided lots.
Okay,
Thank you.
You're welcome.
okay, any other commissioner? Did I hear somebody else, any other commissioners?
I'm sorry, that was myself, Madam Chair, Alan Maricon, that we accept that condition and agree to it.
Okay, alright, so hearing, there's no other commissioners with any questions? Okay, so hearing none, Mr. Mariconda?
Yes, thanks again, Madam Chair. I'll simply indicate that we're in reliance upon Mr. Deutsch's report, Nasser's testimony, and the applicant's testimony on behalf of the family, that this is, I think, a very positive presentation in terms of a minor subdivision. The parcel is larger than many of the lots in the surrounding block area in the R2 zone. The two-family proposes a permitted use in the R2 zone, and we have very substantial open space, and we've created a great deal of parking on the newly created two-family dwelling. We fully accept the deed restriction. That is exactly what the client wants to do, no matter what. There is no desire to build anything greater than a two-family dwelling. So we will certainly include that in any subdivision deeds that are to be recorded. And we ask the board's consideration for a motion for approval. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So as we move forward, then I'm going to ask the commissioners if anyone would like to make a motion on this application, first for the subdivision. So let's start with the subdivision first, and again, the condition would go into the subdivision portion of this, application. That there would only be a two-family, a home, and that's all it could ever be. But, again, Alak will can give you the correct verbiage when it comes time. Is there anyone, that would like to make a motion on this application?
This is Commissioner Dean, I'll go for.
Okay, go ahead, please.
One second, let me go to top of the applications, right here. Alright, on the application of 223-225 at 1 Avenue Block, 1304, lot 15, on the application of Nazmul Babu, 223 at 1 Avenue, Patterson, New Jersey, 07502, property address 223-225 at 1 Avenue Block 1304, lot 15. I move that the board attorney prepare a resolution granting minor subdivision approval with the condition of having a deed. That was the condition? Mr. Acoviva?
Yes, Commissioner. The language would be, there would be a deed restriction in perpetuity.
Al, speak up a little bit more, sorry.
Sure. There would be a deed restriction in perpetuity that any building constructed on the newly subdivided lot will be limited to a two-family residential home.
Sounds great. Alright, so
Okay.
we're gonna go for
Yep.
subdivision first.
Yeah, subdivision first. So do I have a second on Commissioner Udin's
Second,
motion? Second, was that Commissioner Ahmed?
yes.
Yes, okay, Commissioner Ahmed made the second. Roll call, please.
Commissioners, Commissioner Ahmed, on
Yes.
subdivision only. Commissioner Brooks,
Yes.
Commissioner Savalas,
Yes.
Commissioner Santana,
Yes.
Commissioner Issa,
Yes.
Commissioner Eugene,
It's a yes.
Commissioner Forestieri,
Yes.
Councilman Kalik.
Yes.
Thank you, and Chairwoman Northrop.
Yes,
This subdivision has been granted, you may proceed.
okay, so at this time then I'd like to ask if anyone would like to make a motion on the site plan approval. Any commissioner?
I think I'll go for it again.
Okay, Commissioner Udine, go ahead, please.
On the application of Nazmul Babu, 223 Edmond Avenue, Patterson, New Jersey, 07502, property address 223-225 Edmond Avenue, block 1304, lot 15. I note that the board attorney prepare a resolution granting the site plan approval of Quarry and city engineer, subject to city engineer, Harrison Essex Passageway Soil Conservation Service approval, County of Passageway, minor subdivision approval or extension.
Do I have a second?
Second,
Second by Commissioner Ahmed.
yes.
Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioners, Commissioner Ahmed,
Yes.
Commissioner Brooks,
Yes.
Commissioner Savalas,
Yes.
Commissioner Santana,
Yes.
Commissioner Issa,
Yes. Yes.
Commissioner Eugene,
Yes.
Commissioner Forestieri,
Yes.
Councilman Kalik.
Madam Secretary.
Yes. Your vote is yes, sir?
What is yes?
Thank you. Chairwoman Northrop.
Yes, congratulations.
Okay, we thank you for your consideration this evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you.
Take care.
Okay, are we ready to, move forward with the second application? Everyone? Where's Mr. Deutsch? Okay, we've lost somebody here. Okay,
He's back.
I see him. Okay, so, Mr. Deutsch, are we ready to go on to the second application? You're muted. You're muted.
No, I'm not. You're
Okay,
muted.
now you're not, okay. Okay, so we're ready?
Madam Chair,
Yes?
I need to recuse myself on this one.
Okay, thank you very much for your service tonight, and we'll see you next time then, Commissioner Ceballos. Have a good one.
Likewise.
Okay, thank you. All right, so, the second, application, the City of Patterson, 76 McBride Ave, 78-108 McBride Ave, block 4601, lots 1 and 2. Who is representing the City of Patterson this evening?
Madam Chairman, my name is Elmar Webster. I'm with the law firm of Inglesino Webster, Wichita and Taylor.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Webster. Okay, so, the 76 McBride Avenue dash 78 and 78-108 McBride Avenue, block 4601, lots 1 and 2. The City of Patterson proposes to subdivide the existing municipal-owned property that includes block 4601, lots 1 and 2, and to create easements as indicated on the plans. A portion of subdivided lot 1 will merge with lot 2. Combined lots 1 and 2 have area of 3.8 acres, plus or minus. Lot 1 has existing lot area of 87.555 plus or minus square feet. Lot 1 is to be subdivided into 3 lots to be known as proposed lot 1, proposed lot 1.01, and proposed lot 1.02. Existing lot 2 will acquire 19,168 square feet plus or minus from subdivided lot 1 as a result of the subdivision. Newly created lot 1.01 will contain 0.06 acres or 2,748 square feet plus or minus. Newly created lot 1.02 will contain 0.60 acres or 24,811 square feet plus or minus. Newly created lot 1 will contain 0.70 acres or 32,812 square feet plus or minus. Prior to the subdivision, lot 1 contained 2.01 acres plus or minus. Existing lot 2 had contained 1.96 acres or 85,376 square feet plus or minus prior to acquiring 19,168 square feet plus or minus from subdivided lot 1. Proposed lot 2 will contain 2.4 acres or 104,544 square feet plus or minus as a result of the major subdivision. This subdivision proposes no new construction, including to either the public park, okay, or the hydroelectric generating facility. The proposal is located within the Great Falls Historic District. Variances are required for lot area as a minimum of 10,000 square feet is required, and lot 1.01 proposes 2,748 square feet, and the minimum lot width required is 100 feet, and all 4 proposed lots have a lot width of less than 100 feet. The applicant seeks any additional deviations, exceptions, design waivers, submission waivers, variances, interpretation, de minimis exceptions, continuation of any pre-existing non-conforming condition, modifications of prior imposed conditions and other approvals reflected on the filed plan, as same may be further amended or revised from time to time without further notice, and as may be determined to be necessary during the review and processing of the application. It requires major subdivision approval, site plan approval, and bulk variances. Okay, Mr. Deutsch, would you like to give us, actually, I'm sorry, Mr. Deutsch, you must give us your review first, sorry.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman.
Okay.
The parcels identified in this application are all owned by the City of Patterson. The submitted letter of intent and impact identifies this proposal as the Great Falls subdivision application and states that the existing users are a hydroelectric generating facility and a public park, and that the proposed uses shall be the same. in a letter dated February 23rd, 2021 from Toby Cohen Esquire, the law firm Glacio, Webster, Isakala, and Taylor, it is stated that the city of Patterson entered into an agreement with the National Park Service on November 7th, 2011 to convey property owned by the city which surrounds the Great Falls Hydroelectric Station. The city will retain certain rights, licenses, and easements on and over the property to provide for inter alia continued ownership and operation of the hydroelectric station, maintenance of certain monitoring equipment, and continued maintenance of certain historical monuments, all currently located on the property. Following the subdivision, the city of Paterson will remain the owner of the newly created lots until such time as the land transfer is completed. The uses following the subdivision will remain the same, being a hydroelectric facility on proposed lot 1 and a public park known as Overlook Park on proposed lots 1.01, 1.02, and 2. Mr. Cohen has further advised in writing that there are 3 historic easements on the property. The first is an easement from the city as grantor to the Society for Establishing Useful Manufacturers, S2m, as grantee. However, some properties and improvements were acquired by the city in 1934. Therefore, the subject easement is extinguished by the doctrine of merger by operation of law when the city became both the grantor and grantee. The second is an easement from the S2m as grantor to the county of Passaic as grantee, permitting the county to build, erect, and maintain a retaining wall and fill out the lands described in the easement. The city, as successor in interest to the S2m, is prohibited from erecting any structure on the lands described except as necessary to generate hydroelectric power. Due to this restriction, the city is negotiating with the county for the extinguishment of the subject easement as it serves no further purpose. The third is an easement from the city as grantor to the state of New Jersey, heir of the Department of Transportation. Block 4601, lots 1 and 2 contain a storm water drainage pipeline running underneath the properties from the intersection of Interstate Route 80 with Route 19 installed circa 1972. The storm drain easement is shown on sheet 28 of the plans for Route 20 Freeway Section 2B from Valley Road to Grand Street. It is also described on Passaic County Deed Book Z92, page 184, enter October 18, 1972. The easement parcel, as shown on the general property parcel map, sheet 23, is identified as parcel E-287P. The easement is 70 feet wide, 35 feet from the center line of the pipe. Utilizing the reference map excerpted from New Jersey State Highway Department General Property Parcel Map, Route 20 Freeway Section 2, from US 46 interchange to Main Street showing existing right-of-way. The current property survey included herewith shows the approximate location of the pipeline and duplicates the easement demarcation according to the 1972 file documents. At a Patterson Historic Preservation Commission meeting held on February 22nd, 2021, it is written in a memorandum authored by Executive Director Gianfranco Archimede that the Commission supports the proposed subdivision and that the Commission appreciates that the intent of this subdivision is to prepare for the future transfer of lands to the United States of America to complete the Great Falls National Park. Taylor, Wiseman, and Taylor has prepared 2 drawings, sheet 1 of 2 and sheet 2 of 2. Sheet 1 of 2 is dated December 9th, 2020, and prepared by Samuel S. B. Gigatera, New Jersey professional licensed surveyor. The plan is titled Survey of Selected Tracts of the Patterson Great Falls National Historical Park, U.S. Department of the Interior National Park Service. Notes on the plan state the total area of existing block 4601, lots 1 and 2 equal 3.8 acres approximate. Land shown hereon being proposed block 4601, lots 1, 1.01, 1.02, and 2, block 4601. Lot 1 to be retained by the City of Patterson, successor to Patterson Municipal Utility Authority. Block 4601, Lot 1.01, Lot 1.02, and Lot 2 intended to be acquired by the United States of America. The plan also indicates 4 separate descriptions of property indicated as 1, proposed block 4601, Lot 1. Proposed block 4601, Lot 1.01. Proposed block 4601, Lot 1.02, and proposed block 4601, Lot 2. In addition to the description of properties for each lot, the land to be contained in each lot is 0.7 acres for Lot 1, 0.06 acres for Lot 1.01, 0.60 acres for Lot 1.02, and 2.4 acres for Lot 2. Additionally, the plan contains the zoning table for the Great Falls Historic District, the approximate footbridge location table, monuments and plaques, coordinate table, and location map based on USGS quadrangle data. Sheet 2 of 2 is dated December 9, 2020, and prepared by Samuel S. Paterson, New Jersey professional licensed surveyor. The plan is titled Survey of Selected Tracts of the Patterson Great Falls National Historic Park, U.S. Department of the Interior National Park Service. The plan also indicates 4 separate descriptions of property indicated as. The plan indicates detailed easements on proposed block 4602, lot 2, a site of 2.4 acres approximately. Easements are shown for the proposed Quarry lawn access easement, the proposed hydro plant access easement, the proposed tail race access and construction easement, and the New Jersey DOT storm and water pipeline easement. Subdivision plans indicate that 3 of the 4 proposed lots will have frontage along McBride Extension. The lots having frontage along McBride Avenue are proposed lots 1, 1.01, and 2. Lot 1.02 will not have any frontage on a roadway. As indicated in the zoning tables below, the subdivision of this parcel creates variances for lot area as a minimum of 10,000 square feet is required, and lot 1.01 proposes 2,748 square feet, and the minimum lot width required is 100 feet, and all 4 proposed lots have a lot width of less than 100 feet. All other existing non-conforming conditions shall remain. Any proposals for the future development of the proposed lots created by this subdivision shall be reviewed by the appropriate land use board. If approved, the applicant shall file a subdivision plan in conformity with the map filing law or a deed clearly describing the approved major subdivision. Chairman and Secretary of the Planning Board shall sign the deed. If approved, it remains the responsibility of the applicant and or the preparer of the plan to obtain a letter from the city engineer indicating the plans have been satisfactorily reviewed prior to final approval. And that is your staff review for this proposed major subdivision, Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Deutsch. Mr. Webster?
Thank you, Madam Chair. That was a very comprehensive review. Mr. Quick, thank you. I'm not sure if I have much to do. Madam Chair, I have 2 witnesses. I think we're going to be brief. We've got a couple of pictures to show you. Essentially, this application is to provide for the hydroelectric plant in the Great Falls to remain on Patterson proper property. We can't transfer that property to the United States of America. It's a lease with us, and therefore we're going to retain ownership. So we're basically carving out that piece, and we're going to create block and lots around it so that we can transfer the remaining property to the United States of America. I have with me this evening two individuals. One, Gianfranco Acamidi, who I'm sure you're familiar with. He's the city's historian. And I have Sam Prematera, who is the surveyor from Taylor Weissman Taylor, who drafted the subdivision plat. So I'm going to just ask Mr. Gianfranco Acamidi to be sworn in so he can briefly walk you through. And I think he's got not just a story, but some really cool pictures to show as we go.
Okay, Mr. Archimedes, please raise your hand.
Mr. Archimedes, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth?
Hold on.
Or is that something somebody else does here?
Yes,
Okay.
go ahead.
Mr. Markman, do you swear upon testimony about to give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I hear you.
Swear
Hear
upon
me?
the testimony you're about to give is... Yes. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Please state your full name for the record.
Gianfranco Archimedes. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Mr. Webster, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Archimedes, I think you're going to share your screen. Just for the record, Mr. Archimedes, would you provide the board briefly with the benefit of your position and your role in this project?
Yes, certainly. My role is the Executive Director of the City of Patterson Historic Preservation Commission, as well as the Director of the Division of Historic Preservation. I also am the city's liaison to the National Park Service with regard to the National Historical Park project. That's an ongoing project since establishment of the park in 2011. We're working very closely with all levels of government and the MTS to prepare and move forward with all the development plans for the park. So my involvement with the project has been since the designation and even before. As you'll see from my presentation, I've been here with the city as an employee since 2005.
Okay, Mr. Acmeedy, would you please share your screen?
Okay. Okay, can everyone see the screen?
Yeah, if you can full size your presentation.
I'll do that now. Okay, do you see the whole presentation? I guess you do.
Yes.
Okay, very good.
Yes.
Okay, may I begin?
Yes, please.
Jim Frank,
very good.
this is Al Aquaviva. Hold on one second. Is this a booklet that was submitted, or is this a presentation you're doing for the first time right now?
It's a presentation we're just put together, so we'll need to mark it as
Okay, I just want to make sure, so it doesn't have to be marked, that's all. I just want to make sure it wasn't a physical document that needed.
No.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Let me just confirm, I just wanted that everyone is seeing just the slide on the screen and not seeing a double split screen.
We're seeing a double
Is that
split.
right?
We're seeing the double split screen.
Okay, let me see if I can get it to be just one screen. I didn't expect that. Bear with me, please.
There you go.
Is that better?
Got it.
Very good.
Madam Chair, I have one other interruption. I just want to put on the record that Councilman Kalik has left the meeting. So he will not be hearing this application, nor will he be voting on this application.
Okay, so duly noted, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Mr. Jacoby, please proceed.
Hey, very good. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It's great to be with you this evening. This is a very big event for all of us who have been working hard on getting the application before you this evening. The presentation I'm going to give you is broken down into three major parts. The first is background and history, really going back to the beginning, because the lands that we're talking about this evening in this application are germane to the very beginnings of Patterson. And although I believe most of us are somewhat familiar with the backstory, we would like to put it on the record and provide folks with the information about how we came to be designated as a national park unit. And then the rest will sort of follow from there. The second part of the presentation is to familiarize everyone with the map background, boundary background, and the location of the area, and some of the projects that have been ongoing and that are about to start actually on the adjacent land surrounding this park, Overlook Park. And thirdly, we followed and finished by a series of photos to familiarize yourself with the actual parcels that we're going to be discussing. And that'll be the substance of the presentation. I'm going to start by sort of going on a script. It'll take about 5 minutes to read through this, and you can just watch the slides as we go forward. Thank you. In 1778, Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Hamilton visited the Great Falls with General George Washington while the Continental Army was encamped nearby on the north at Wayne, New Jersey. Following the war, serving as the nation's first Secretary of the Treasury, Hamilton remembered the Great Falls and his vision to create a national economy based on manufacturing. In 1791, he formed an investment group, the Society for Establishing Useful Manufacturers, also called the S2m for short, and the Falls was selected as the location of America's first planned industrial city. Like many waterfalls, the power and grace of the Great Falls was irresistible, and this lovely natural wonder was harnessed for human use that continues today with small-scale hydroelectric generating, and which began in 1915. Industries were powered by channeling water from the Passaic River at a point above the falls into a system of water raceways, planned initially by Hamilton and Pierre L'Enfant and finalized by Peter and Roswell Colt. The beginnings of the raceway system were in use by 1794 and expanded to the final form in 1837 and are extant today. Hamilton's experiment with water power and the S2m coupled these two features, one man-made and one natural. This marriage turned this bucolic scene of the falls into a highly developed and dense industrial city by 1880, when the water turbine was on the scene and maximized power output of water systems. Paterson gave rise to the Rogers steam locomotive, the Holland submarine, Colt's famous revolver, and the Lindbergh aircraft engine, to name a few. Silk production gave Patterson its most prosperous period in the late 19th century, earning it the nickname Silk City. Labor strikes, floods, and fires did not halt growth, showing just how resilient Patterson was. Patterson is of great interest to people for diverse reasons: historical, scenic, natural, educational, inspirational, and recreational. Patterson's diverse characteristics are expressed in the several significant overlapping cultural and environmental designations that are seen listed here. With so many designations conveyed over the years, there's no doubt that Patterson's Great Falls Historic District is unique among the many gritty cities of the Northeast. The designations are for natural and cultural significance, indicating specific features and events that made Patterson among the first significant places in our nation and its history. Each designation implies certain relative regulative reuse parameters and grant funding opportunities, while others impart a greater level of prestige and public profile. The designations represent the stewardship of a generation, beginning at least in the late 1960s, about preserving, protecting, and raising the district to the ultimate level of cultural designation, that of a national park. So the stewardship of the Great Falls the Great Falls Historic District started in about 1970 when it was first entered onto the National Register of Historic Places for its cultural significance. But first it was entered in the late 60s as a national natural landmark for the Great Falls and the formation of the Great Falls. It was then listed later in 1976 during the bicentennial as a National Historic Landmark District, which is a very high designation. These cultural designations are on par with other historic places that we're all very familiar with to the national consciousness, such as the White House and Lady Liberty and Congress Hall. We're also listed on the New Jersey Register of Historic Places and also on Patterson's Municipal Register of Historic Places. It's such a unique zone, in fact, that we have our own zoning for the historic district that's known as the Great Falls Historic District Zone. An important step toward this goal was realized during the McGreevey administration when the Great Falls State Park was established in 2004 as one of 2 new urban parks added to New Jersey State Park system in over 80 years. In 2006 and 2007, the state funded and undertook a design competition for a master plan for the new park and awarded field operations the designers of the now world-renowned Highline Park in Chelsea in New York City, the Patterson project. The master plan was completed in 2008. Close on the heels of this new park designation, and after 4 decades of discussion about the topic, the Great Falls National Historical Park was authorized by Congress in 2009, and the legislation signed on April 30th by President Obama. Passing the legislation was not a simple matter. It took much skillful maneuvering by our congressional leaders like Bill Pascrell and Frank Lautenberg to get it passed. This was just the beginning of a multi-year process to get the park established. After about 18 months of negotiation with the city and other public agencies holding lands in the park boundary, the nation's 392nd National Park was established on November 7, 2011. The agreement that the city signed with the National Park Service, there's the front page of it on screen. Isla Stadium was added to the park boundary in 2015, making it now the only national park in the nation with a historic sports arena, where the story of segregation and the Negro League baseball will be interpreted by the National Park Service. As part of the agreement of 2011, this boundary map was included. The boundaries of the Great Falls National Historic Park are shown on screen in green, and the larger area that's bounded in red is the Great Falls Historic District. And this boundary is very close to the zoning district, also representing the boundaries of the National Historic Landmark District. As you can see, the hatched green area is rather a subset of the larger historic district. You can also see that the National Park area is focused on the core, or the area where the U in the Passaic River comes in from west and flows to the east downstream, which is that area of the Great Falls. So I'd like to show you that this was the boundaries authorized by Congress for the Great Falls National Historic Park. The agreement of 2011 with the City of Patterson was very important in one aspect, in many different aspects, but one of the important aspects we're here to discuss tonight is that of the future transfer of lands by donation by the city and agencies that own the land to the United States for administration by the National Park Service. This is another figure on screen from the 2011 agreement, and you can see in the green outlined areas these are the lands that were of interest for acquisition in what they call Phase 1. And you can see the legend off to the right side showing Phase 1 tracts of interest. And in my next slide, we can better delineate them as Mary Ellen Kramer Park in that kind of U-shaped set of parcels that's just to the north of the Great Falls, and this kind of goes around the Great Falls. And then Overlook Park is the parcel that we're here to discuss this evening. And you'll notice that there's a separation between those two parcels that constitute Overlook Park, which are the subject of the application this evening, and that is the location of the hydroelectric plant. And in this map, it's already shown and delineated that the National Park Service was not going to acquire the lands where the hydroelectric plant are located. Now, the Great Falls Welcome Center is a small piece of land located at the corner of Spruce and McBride Avenue. Most of us are familiar with it. It's the small building where visitors come to initially pick up information about the park. I want to point out that this parcel was already transferred to the United States several years ago. So we've been through this process before. Of course, there was no need for a subdivision or any kind of planning board applications for this small parcel to be transferred. Using another map that shows an aerial satellite view of the entire bounded district that I just showed you, we can get a better sense or a different idea of some of the features on the ground by looking at this map. The same areas of interest for acquisition are outlined in green, and they're shown here clearly delineated as the same parcels I just described to you earlier. You can see that these parcels are really wrapped around what we have been calling the core of the National Historic Park and the most significant lands with regard to being able to visit, view, and enjoy and interpret the waterfall and the significance of the waterfall to Patterson's history. Now, moving to the second part of my presentation, this map is using the same aerial satellite image with red delineations breaking down the historic district, even outside of the areas within the national park boundary, but across the whole district, showing the various adjacent property areas. The way that this was derived was through the study of the Great Falls Park Master Plan effort that I discussed earlier in 2008 that laid out specific areas of the district to be sort of developed in a pocket park capacity with one overall vision, so that the results would be more interesting and that there wouldn't be a duplication of all of the different activities and uses in these different areas. I'm going to get one step closer so we can just look at this a little bit closer. And there, right in center, you see Overlook Park. And the hydroelectric plant is obvious, the parking area and the access road going down to the hydroelectric plant. Right adjacent to it is the Quarry, the ATP site, and the Quarry lawn area. I'm going to show you a little more about this project because this project is about to unfold starting this summer. And I'd like to point out that Overlook Park, you may remember, was improved, remediated, and millions of dollars of improvements made in anticipation of this eventual transfer. So Overlook Park has already been put into a status quo that will continue going forward, not only after the subdivision, but also after land transfer. The other parcel down to the bottom is the S2m Raceway Park. This is another a parcel that you may be familiar with. There's a walking path along the upper raceway that kind of makes a U and returns you back at a bridge that goes over the middle raceway that's kind of near the Ivanhoe building and the well-known Burger King at the corner of Mill and Spruce. On the north side of the district, you can plainly see Hinchliffe Stadium to the left, upper left on the slide. Just for a quick note, the Hinchliffe Stadium project has gotten through all of its requisite approvals and is on the cusp of getting started in real hard construction. And we actually had a groundbreaking event just about a week ago, and we're all very proud of this this project that we put many hours and years of effort into, handing from hand to hand with many folks folks involved. I'd like to also congratulate the Patterson Public Schools, the City Council, the school board, the development team, the administration for bringing this very, very large project to fruition. This is a $95 million project that includes a small parking deck and a new housing building on the adjacent lands right here to Hitchcock Stadium. Just below Hitchcock Stadium is Mariel and Kramer Park. This is another parcel that is interested to be transferred to the National Park Service in the future. This park also has been remediated and has been improved and is ready for transfer when all the administrative efforts have been and milestones have been filled. That'll be in the near future following the efforts that we're making now. The Patterson Business Park is also adjacent to Hitchcock Stadium. This is actually a state park on state-owned land. It's outside of the National Historical Park boundaries. It's a sort of a great gift to the city of Patterson of about 8 acres of open space that's on the cusp of also being designed and then improved. We have funding to do so, and this is another project that will get into design and underway this year. This is a site plan for Overlook Park showing some of the improvements that were made, when the park opened in 2018. So the new improvements included an amphitheater, and please note here the hydroelectric plant has been sort of segregated out of the park plan because no work obviously was done in this compound. The next rendering on screen is the design rendering for the Quarry Lawn Park. The Quarry Lawn is a 2-acre parcel just adjacent to the Overlook Park that I just demonstrated to you. And this would include a large lawn area, rain gardens, a central passageway, stabilized ruins and picnic opportunities, and a river walk. The river walk will commence at Overlook Park all the way at this end. This is the Hydroelectric Plant, and that's where the river walk will begin. The visitors will be able to visit Overlook Park, get right onto the river walk, and get right across smoothly without any transition into this new park area called Quarry Lawn. They can enjoy the walk and experience of being right along the river wall, looking into the Passaic River and across to the Valley of the Rocks. We're looking forward to having this project ready for bidding this summer. This is a rendering of the central passageway, the large lawn and the quarry area on the left, and the hardscape and stabilized ruins on the right. And here is another view that approximates what you'll see when you enter Quarry Lawn from Overlook Park. And guess what? This is the Quarry Lawn as it looks like now. So this is what we're starting with. So we very much look forward to reclaiming this land, remediating it, and returning it back into public use for hundreds of thousands of visitors and Pattersonians to enjoy. The rendering on screen now shows the stabilized steam plant ruins, which you can see also in the background image behind me, and a new building that's placed there. Historically, there was a steam plant there. It was a large structure with a large smokestack that was built in partnership with the Hydroelectric Plant in 1914. And the project that you're seeing in front of you is a new visitor center known as the Alexander Hamilton Center for the National Park. The Hamilton Center will have permanent exhibits, bathrooms, and flex space that can be used for like renting out, actually, if you wanted to hold an event or even for example, a wedding at the falls. Another view of the Hamilton Center, as you would see it from McBride in this rendering. This is a very important aspect of our application this evening. The Hamilton Center is being funded and built in such a way that it's a national park project. And the National Park Service will, of course, erect the building and then run the building in perpetuity. So the lands need to be transferred to the National Park Service in the United States before this building can get started into construction. So this is an important aspect of our getting ready for the lands transfer with this application this evening. So So that wraps up the second portion of my presentation with regard to adjacent developments and some of what's going on in the district and some of the project areas that are either about to unfold or have already been developed. And I'm using this lovely drone level aerial view to now familiarize you with the area of interest this evening in this application by using photos, which I think will be very helpful before we get into the technical testimony of our surveyor. So for many of you, this is a very familiar scene with the Great Falls right in the center of the photo. You can even see the pedestrian bridges crossing over the chasm. And many of you know that if you arrive at McBride Avenue, you can park in this new parking lot and you can use this new walkway through the park to a steel staircase that will then take you across into the upper, what we call the upper landing of Overlook Park, and you'll hook a right and go directly adjacent to the river, over the pedestrian bridge and into Mary Ellen Kramer Park. And adjacent to Mary Ellen Kramer Park, Angel Stadium. So here we have labels on screen to show you the various areas that I demonstrated on the maps and also just pointed out verbally to you. Overlook Park is at the bottom left of frame. The Great Falls Welcome Center is out of frame. You can't see it on this photo. The Hydroelectric Plant, which is of interest this evening as well, is really pretty much in the center of the frame. Angel Stadium to the upper center. Mary Ellen Kramer Park is adjacent to Angel Stadium. Now for a map view of the same features, we have two parcels that we're dealing with this evening. The one is in orange and one is in green, just to show you that they're adjacent and they're kind of close to each other, and they all comprise what we were calling Overlook Park. Over here to the left is pretty much the river and the waterfall, and hence the irregular kind of shoreline here of this Finger Peninsula parcel. These two lines here represent the footbridges that I pointed out in the aerial photo. The hydroelectric plant would be at this kind of square angle, or this right angle here in center frame, and Overlook Park and the parking area would be here in the larger parcel in orange. The proposed subdivision parcels are shown. They're broken down into colors so you can sort of see them better here. From the two parcels, the proposal is for 4. And as Mr. Webster said earlier, the green parcel here at center is the hydroelectric plant, and it's referred to areas that are needed for the operations and maintenance of the plant. There are also various easements that Mr. Deutsch went into in his report that are across the various lots in order to be able to service the plant and provide ongoing access and maintenance. But the green one would be proposed to, in future transfer, to remain as city property, and the other 3 colored lots here. You can see one is, we affectionately call this one pork chop lot. And the pork chop lot is the smallest of those. And you can see why some of these lots will require a variance in this application because of the difference in one being so large and the other being so small. I'll finish the presentation now with just photographs to show you the various park areas that I just described and that represent the new proposed lots. So we have here, we're looking at an overview picture of Overlook Park, which is proposed to be called Lot 2. In the foreground, you see the amphitheater, the access road that kind of hooks around and brings you from McBride Avenue over to right side of the frame into and down to access the hydroelectric plant, which is just off screen at the bottom left corner. This is a necessary easement road for obvious reasons for being able to fix the hydro plant. Also, we have the Steam Plant Foundation. The new Alexander Hamilton Center will go squarely where these cars are parked. And in conjunction with it, just anecdotally, a new parking deck is also needed as part of this project, which will go in the parking lot, which is on the other side of these trees, and is not part of the parcels we're talking about today. The quarry lawn is right beyond these trees, and there's sort of a gate here that says keep out. This is where the river walk will go, and we'll open up into the new quarry lawn area. Here we have another view showing how you use the new walking path path and the stairway to get up and over the formation, moving you from the parking area and into our next adjacent parcel. This is if you do a turn directly around from that point of view. Now that you come up on top of the stairs, you're looking directly now at the Spruce Street Bridge, and you're looking at also parcel 1.01, proposed parcel 1.01. I've placed this dashed red line so you can see that the point of this parcel is to have the walking path for visitors as part of a continuous publicly owned walkway owned by the United States to get folks from Overlook Park and the stairway across the waterfall and over into Mary Ellen Kramer Park. I wanted to give this photo to show this small pork chop shaped lot and why its boundaries as it does. It's pretty much to make sure that the walking path you see gets into the ownership of the National Park Service, while the large parking area that's used for staging cranes and large vehicles and also for employee parking for the hydroelectric plant remains City of Paterson land. Just a note about, so then this continues and comes to the footbridge. The footbridge crosses over the forebay, or where the water comes into the hydroelectric plant. This bridge will also be transferred in ownership to the National Park Service, because it's important that this footbridge actually connects, as you can see in this photo, proposed parcels lot 1.01 and lot 1.02. So lot 1.02 is on the other side, and you can see here there's a fenced area with a small building. That would also be part of lot 1, proposed lot 1, that would remain in ownership of the city as part of the operating plant for the hydroelectric facility. Dead center, where all the trees are, is proposed lot 1.02. The view here is from the Spruce Street Bridge, and as soon as you hit the finger of kind of peninsula of lot 1.02, you're immediately then presented with the pedestrian footbridge that I think everyone's familiar with. That gives you that spectacular experience of being able to cross the chasm and often see a rainbow in the mist, and have your first feeling of the mist and listening to the roar of the Great Falls. Finally, Lot 1, which is proposed to be segregating the hydroelectric facility and remain later in ownership of the City of Patterson following a land transfer, consists of utilitarian structures and the maintenance areas needed for the operation of the hydroelectric plant. Just as a quick note about the hydroelectric plant, the hydroelectric plant was constructed by the S2m in 1915. It does continue to operate today. In 1982, the city created the Municipal Utilities Authority in order to try to continue to produce power and modernize this plant. So we have 3 modern turbines that are currently generating power at the hydroelectric facility. We have 1 of the historic generators that's left for interpretive purposes that does not operate. So there were 4 total, and now we have 3 that are continuing to operate. The City of Patterson entered into a long-term lease with a hydro operator. That hydro operator today is Eagle Creek Renewable Energy. So we have a lease agreement with Eagle Creek, a long-term lease. We're looking at like 50-year lease is what I'm getting at. We have a special government license to generate power, and the city is actually gaining revenue from this operation, and will continue to do so. There's also a profit-sharing part of the lease that if the generation of power goes over a certain threshold, the power that's sold to PSC&G into the grid will be shared at a percentage with the City of Patterson. You can see on this screen there's a kind of a thick aerial black wire in the power line right off to the right side of the screen. That's where all the power leaves the plant and goes down to the substation at the bottom of Ellison Street. Finally, this photograph will show the relationship of the entrance to Lot 1 and the corner intersection of Spruce Street and McBride Avenue. Right off screen and across the street would be Libby's Lunch for everyone who used to go and have lunch there. And right on the other side of the entranceway, you can see the path that leads to the stairs that will take you back into the main part of Overlook Park, the larger parcel, which proposed parcel lot 2. Also, as part of the notes on the subdivision plan that was submitted are 4 monuments that exist in Overlook Park. These monuments are to remain the cultural property of the city of Patterson. They represent over a long period of time the various efforts to name and honor different members of the community for their long term of public service, for example. And these monuments are to be reserved in ownership, and they will remain in place on the landscape even after land transfer. So I just want to show you visually these 4 monuments, and then they'll be discussed at their locations by our next presenter. So first is plaque 2. I'm getting these numbers right off of the submitted plaque, the Ruth Hirschberg Rose Garden Memorial plaque. Here's a dedication in 1964 when Overlook Park was first created after the demolition of the steam plant. And you can see it under the Graves administration. And this is the plaque to commemorate this event, which is right at the foot of the flagpole. And then there was soon after that, there was another designation to call the park the Harry B. Haynes Memorial Park, which is kind of given to the memory of longstanding editor and publisher of the morning and evening news, Harry B. Haynes, who passed away in 1972. Monument 3 is very familiar to everyone. This is our founding father, Alexander Hamilton. This life-size statue, bronze, was commissioned by the city of Patterson and in 1904, and it was installed at the City Hall Plaza at that time. He made his way over to his position at the Great Falls in about 1960, right around the time when the Great Falls was put on the National Register in the early 70s, late 60s. Just as 2 other notes I'd like to make as I conclude my presentation. Mr. Deutsch mentioned in his notes that the City of Patterson Historic Preservation Commission did formally review the same application as is called for in the Patterson zoning ordinance and has passed its recommendation on to the planning board for support of this application. And the document that I authored at their request is distributed to you and put on file. A lot of what I just went over in this presentation is in that memo in writing, if you care to refer to it at a later time. Also, one other note about the City of Patterson Master Plan of 2014. The development of the national park in the way that I've laid out for you in this presentation, especially loosely working around the project areas that you saw delineated in red on the map, and those that we've been developing in coordination with the State Park Master Plan, is also supported by our 2014 Master Plan in both the historic preservation element and also in the open space and recreation element of the recent Master Plan. So we very much appreciate your support of this important application. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Archimedes. My next witness, Madam Chair, is Sam Privatera. Sam, you're on mute. We're going to need to get you sworn in.
Okay, you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Is your right hand? You swear affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Yes.
State your full name for the record.
Samuel S. Privatera.
Mr. Patera, while you share your screen, I'm going to ask you to give the board the benefit of your position and your experience.
Yes, I'm a professional land surveyor in the state of New Jersey, also a vice president shareholder of Taylor Weston Taylor. I've been surveying professionally. I've been a professional surveyor for over 25 years.
Mr. Patera, did you or your firm prepare the drawings that we're about to see this evening?
Yes, we did.
We accept him as an expert witness.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
I know my stuff's not gonna be as nice as Gianfranco's.
Well, he had a very detailed presentation. Thank
I
you.
don't know, maybe I should've went first, but.
Go ahead.
But yes, Leonardo, we were first contracted by the National Park Service in 2012 to do surveys of various parcels, more than what's shown on what we're doing tonight. And through those years, it's come to this point of finally doing the subdivision, of separating the hydroelectric plant.
Okay, thank you. Let's share your screen and let's walk through it real quick. Gianfranco's kind of laid the groundwork, so I think your job's pretty easy tonight.
Right, you see my screen, right?
I do not.
No, I cannot see it.
All right, there we go.
There we go. Now we see.
Yep, coming up now.
Okay, so basically, what you're looking at is a blow-up of the subdivision plan that, I'm not sure if anybody has it in the hard copy in front of them, but basically, Gianfranco uses a portion of this in his information. So this is the subdivision plan showing the two lots as discussed. I'm going to switch to another one, which is more of a worksheet that we use, which is the same information, but just has some, makes it a little bit more colorful. As you can see, the area is two lots divided in, split into four. The areas of orange will be transferred to the National Park Service. The area of green, which is the area of the hydroelectric, will remain. The site is basically carved up in these little lots because of the hydroelectric plant. It's basically bisecting everything. And due to the terrain, which these plans are only 2D, you don't get the full concept of the terrain out there, which Gianfranco helped with that with his aerial photos and drone photos showing the terrain difference out there. So basically, the survey, like I said, we started in 2012. We updated it as they constructed the parking lot and all the area in the park that Gianfranco was talking. Not much has changed anywhere else. Not much more to add other than it's an odd configuration of lots, but basically due to physical features, that's really why they're carved up that way. Not much more I can add. I mean, other than that, it's basically
would you just for the record just go through each lot and the variances that are needed, just so we can have that on the record?
Sure.
And that's all I need from you this evening.
Sure, no problem.
Thank you.
As stated, lot 1, which is the lot that's remaining, the green lot that the Patterson's keeping for the hydroelectric plant. It does need a variance just for frontage, I believe. It has, no problem with the square footage. It does need a variance, and obviously the hydroelectric plant exceeds the height variance of it's 83 feet high. So that's one of the issues and that's an existing condition. So the hydroelectric plant is approximately 85 feet. And building height is 50. Also needs it for lot width. It's only 83 feet at its widest point. So that's lot 1, and that's the area in green remaining for the hydroelectric plant. The next lot would be lot 101, which is the corner pork chop lot, we call it, at the corner here. And this is really created due to the existing conditions and the walking path and the footbridge. So basically, it was constricted as to really what the lot could be, due to the physical features out there. And that needs variances for, again, pretty much everything. It only has 2,748 square foot plus or minus. So, that's not conforming with lot width. There's no buildings on there, so that would be the variance that they would need for that. Lot 102 is the next lot, which is the peninsula lot, as we would call it. This is the area that is after the hydroelectric plant and after the first footbridge, that the walk continues to the two bridges, one for the public and one for the utilities footbridge, more or less. Again, this area, as far as square footage, it is above square footage. It's obviously an odd-shaped lot because it's along the edge of the falls, basically. It's all at the edge of the ravine of the bank of the falls. So it's an odd-shaped lot. And at its width, it's only 74 feet, so that would be a variance that is required. It has no lot frontage because it doesn't front anything, no road frontage. The last lot, which is the biggest lot, is the lot that all the improvement in the amphitheater were just done in the parking lot and the access road to the hydroelectric. That's the largest lot. Really no variances are required there. So it's only the three of the four lots require variances. And most of them do because of existing conditions that are there and how the lots were formed just for the general public accessibility and the physical features. Okay?
Madam Chair, I have no further questions for this witness, and that rests my case in chief for this evening.
All right, thank you very much. I'm going to open it up to the public at this moment. We'll see if anybody has any questions from the public. If anyone from the public has any questions of the two presenters this evening, please call in at 973-321-1579. The meeting ID is 711-680-001. And I'll allow 2 minutes for call-ins, 3 minutes for questions. Thank you.
Do you have a stopwatch there? Should be a time ticking down, right?
Yes, the secretary figures that one out.
Oh. It's late, sorry.
No worries, we get it.
Commissioner and Chairwoman Winthrop, we have no callers at this time. I will keep it going. If I get a caller in between any questions with the commissioners, I will let you know, but as of now, we have no callers.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. So at this time, I'm going to open it up to the commissioners. Commissioners, any questions of either presenter? Can you commissioners, anybody? Okay, can you perhaps take the plans down that you have?
Sure, you want me to stop sharing?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, just for the moment so I can see who's here and who may have questions.
Sure.
Okay, commissioners, any questions? Okay, I don't hear any questions, so then I'm gonna ask, the attorney to sum up. Mr. Webster?
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. For the reasons that we've stated in our application and were so eloquently listed by Mr. Deutsch in his preamble, we humbly request that our application be approved with variances, deviations, and exceptions. Thank you for your time this evening.
Okay, thank you. Would any commissioner like to make a motion on this application?
Is it Commissioner Dean?
Yes, Commissioner Dean, please go ahead.
I believe there are two motions, one for subdivision. Madam Chair?
Yes, yes, there is. I see the attorney shaking his head. Yes, there is.
I was muted, sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Give me 1 second. Let me go to the top of the application quick. Alright, so on the application of City of Patterson, 155 Market Street, Patterson, New Jersey, 07505. At the property address 76 McCord Avenue and 78-108 McCord Avenue, block 4601, lot 1 and 2. I move that the board attorney prepare resolution granting the major subdivision approval.
Thank you, Commissioner Dean. Before I ask for a second, somebody's mic is on. I can hear background noise so that the recording secretary can hear everything. Okay, please, whoever that may be, please shut your mics off. Do I have a second?
Second, Commissioner Santana.
Commissioner Santana? Yes, Commissioner Santana. Second, roll call, please.
Excuse me, Chairwoman, during
Yes.
the motion, I didn't hear anything with you talking and the vote, so I need you
Okay,
to.
so Commissioner Udine made the motion to approve the application.
Okay, there were no conditions, I'm assuming, no?
No, on the subdivision, no. And then, Commissioners, yep.
Thank you. I do apologize to everyone, but when everyone's speaking at the same time and your mics are on, I lose some information. But
Yeah.
Chairwoman Northrop and I apologize for that. I try to be attentive. Okay.
There was background noise, that's all it was.
The first vote was Eugene.
Yes,
Second,
was Commissioner Santana.
thank you. Commissioners, Commissioner Fisher is absent, Commissioner Ahmed,
Yes, yes.
Commissioner Brooks,
Yes.
Commissioner Savalos.
He left the,
Right, yeah, that's right,
meeting.
you did. Yes, he did. I'm sorry about that. Commissioner Santana,
Yes.
Commissioner Issa,
Yes.
Commissioner Udine,
Yes.
and Commissioner Forestieri.
Yes.
Thank you. And Chairwoman Northrop.
Yes,
Thank you. This application has been granted. Thank you very much, everyone. There is no further business this
Okay,
evening.
okay, well, I have the second part of this. I need a motion to approve the site plan. May I have, yes, Commissioner Udine, you'll make it? Thank you.
Can you stop a moment? I'm having a little difficulty hearing something. Let me call IT. Okay, I fixed it. Thank you. I'm back.
Okay,
Continue,
Commissioner
Chairwoman.
Udine, please go ahead and make your motion.
Sure. Okay, so on the application of City of Patterson, 155 Market Street, Patterson, New Jersey, 07505, property address 76 McBride Avenue and 78-108 McBride Avenue, block 4601, lot 1 and 2. I move that the board attorney prepare resolution granting the site plan approval, block variance, just subject to city engineer approval, the State County Planning Board approval, Patterson Preservation Commission District approval.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Santana. Roll call, please.
Commissioners, Commissioner Ahmed,
Yes.
Commissioner Brooks,
Yes.
Commissioner Savalos,
Left the meeting.
I'm sorry,
No worries.
Commissioner Santana,
Yes.
Commissioner Udine,
Listen, yes.
Commissioner Issa,
Yes.
Commissioner Forestieri,
Yes.
Chairwoman Northrop.
Yes,
Thank you.
congratulations, everyone.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentations, and I wish everyone a good evening. I want to close the meeting. Do I have a motion to close?
Yes.
Guess what, I'll make the motion to close, okay, who seconds it? Commissioner D, and I see him, okay. Okay, everybody's got their hands up, so everybody say aye, aye. Have a good night, everybody, thank you.
Okay.
Be safe, okay, good night.
Oh.